The lessons this morning gives us two simple directions to go. Luke, the author of both Acts and the Gospel that bears his name, really wants you to believe in it. Believe it happened, the resurrection, just like it said. Believe Jesus was there eating that fish, that the disciples were going to look at his body and try to determine that it really happened. Then the other direction is presented by the letter of 1 John. Be it. Claim it. Become it. And I think both of these things are needed for a holistic approach to Christianity. A step into Christianity through belief, and then growing into that which we are as Christians. But what is that? Well, that reminded me of this story that I heard a long time ago. And it was about this young couple. They had a couple of kids. He had gone to a new job, been there for about 6 months. They had hardly ever had time to be with each other alone. Anybody share that experience, married couples? You know, and they knew their relationship was basically starting to grow apart because they didn't know each other. And they were pulled in all different directions. Their parents saw that too. And they told them, look, we'll take care of the kids. You need to find time to him. You need to find time where you can get away. And so they did. They worked real hard, carved out some time, found a wonderful little resort in the mountains of North Carolina. And for the first time in 6 months, really longer than that, they were going to have some time to themselves. So the day came, they got to the resort, and they were about to have dinner alone for the first time. And they're in there, they sit down. Now, out of the corner of their eye, they noticed this elderly gentleman was working the room. You know, and they weren't from New York, but they kind of did the New York thing, don't make eye contact. You know, maybe he won't see us. But of course, he steps right up to their table. Hi, y'all aren't from around here, are you? No, we're out in Oklahoma somewhere, you know. Oh, yeah, I thought so. He says, I'm not really from around here either. I'm from across the state line there, but he says, you know, when I was a child growing up over there in the holler, I had a problem. I was a bastard child. And I figured everybody knew that. All they had to do is look at me and they could tell, you are a bastard child. But I still couldn't stay away from people. And there's this one little church. I always went all the way around to the other holler, went to this church, because I liked that preacher, great big preacher, and he just preached wonderful things about the love of God. But still, I'd always sit in that back row, because the minute that last prayer was said, I'd shoot out the door, because I didn't want anybody there to realize that a bastard child was in their midst, because I know what would happen. They'd kick me out. Well, it just so happens one morning I got to church, and they must have had some special program before I got there, and my back pew was all filled up, and I had to sit towards the middle, but I thought, that's okay, maybe I can sneak out afterwards. And the last prayer was said, and I got up to sneak out, and a bunch of people stood up in front of me, and I couldn't make it to the door. And then I felt a hand on my shoulder, and it was turning me around. And I found myself staring right to the belt buckle of that big preacher. And I thought, oh Lord, I have been found out. And he looked at me and he says, I know you. I know who you are. The resemblance is as clear as day. You are God's child. Now get out there and claim your inheritance. Of course, that couple was sitting there kind of going, whoa. And then he got up, started to move on, and he turned around and says, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name's Ben W. Hooper. I was the 2-term governor of the state of Tennessee next door. Y'all have a good time together. He walked on up. Now, that is the second step of Christianity beyond just believing in. It's claiming that heritage. It's what is written right here in 1 John. Well, if I could find it. See what love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. There's no question in John's mind. We are God's children. The world is our inheritance. And what are we to do with this inheritance? We are to be the risen Christ in the presence of all the needs of this world. We are to be symbols of love, just like that big pastor putting what was thought to be the judging arm on his shoulder to turn that young child around. And he turned him around and turned his life around, not through judgment, but by the word of love. You are God's child.